with that, you got to ask yourself, if we know what the root causes are of projects historically, and we understand what the 10 reasons for failure is, and this data has been out there for the better part of 20 years, how in the world do projects continue to go wrong?
Mark, that raises a really interesting one, and what we're seeing on the screen now is just a synoptic summary of a study I participated in with Deloitte & Touche. And what our study was a really interesting study. So we know all the reasons why projects fail. So we went and tracked down a number of companies. Now, there was over 150 companies in this survey, by the way. We found companies that had bought the wrong software. So you can imagine this if you're listening today, that you actually went out, you made an investment, and all the investments that they made were over $100,000. They bought software, they bought the wrong software, and our job was really to sort out, well, what was your buying criteria? So we know why projects fail. Now let's look at, what was that buying process like? What did you go about? So on the first time around, so the thing to notice, on the first time they bought the software, now keep in mind, these companies all have to replace the software they bought within 24 months. So they made a sizable investment, they made the wrong decision, they had to replace the software in 24 months. And if you think that's not painful or disruptive to a company, you're very wrong about that. It's very disruptive. But their buying criteria was very interesting. The most important thing, the first time they set out to buy software, was the price of the software. Okay, the second most important thing was ease of implementation, and third was ease of use. Now these all seem logical, actually, right? Because you want it to be easy, you want it to be price sensitive, etc. Software's ability to fit the business, etc. And then the solution provider, the person that was actually, so the actual artisan that was going to craft this software to fit the business was 8th on their priority list, and the vendor's track record was 10th. So that was very interesting to us, right? Now, after they bought the software, after they had this doomed project, and you can imagine the screaming and yelling in these companies, right? They had to go out and buy software again. So these same companies went about buying software again, and we asked them to look at the second time you bought, how did you prioritize this? And the most important thing was that they put the level of support provided by the local partner as number one. And I think the reason that they did this is another interesting sort of anecdotal information. The reason they did it is because they felt that the local partner implementing the solution could tell them the true facts. It's one thing for a brochure to say software does it, or one thing for an RFP response to say, oh yeah, the software does it. Another thing for the partner who implements that software every day to say, yeah, it does it, but it doesn't do it that way, it does it this way. That local intimate knowledge, right? So that became the most important thing. The second thing I found interesting, so it moved from 8th position to number 1. The second thing was that the vendor's track record of performance, and now we're talking about the software company itself, how did that software company's performance, how did they perform in terms of their support, their updates, quality, etc. That moved from 10th position to number 2, which I thought was interesting. So a lot of people start the selection process out by give me a demo, show me a feature and function, but not having the rest of the components together. And I think other things that were interesting, software's ability to fit the business remained pretty constant between 3 and 4. The growth potential, so notice it moved from 7th position to 4th position, because that ties into what I was saying earlier around those changing requirements, right? So from a changing requirement point of view, we need to know what we're going to do with the software, how we can grow with us. And of course, price came into number 5. I mean, price is always relevant, but at the end of the day, would you want to have bought the software based on price and have to replace it in less than 2 years? Or would you rather buy the right solution from the right partner? And I think that's really the point we're trying to get to today.